record. And we'll go ahead and get started. Again, welcome everyone this evening for the District 13 DEC contest training. And to get started, I did want to, as I said, ask you guys to answer a few questions in the chat box, and I will go ahead and get started. And the first question I have is real simple, is have you ever attended a Toastmasters contest? And if you did, go ahead and put yes in the text box, chat box.
Becky, I'm in.
Okay, and that's looking probably about what I expected. The next question I have is, have you ever participated in a contest as a contestant, or have you filled a role? And if you were a contestant, can you put contestant? And if you were a role, if you filled a role, could you write the name of that role? Now, I know many of us have multiple roles and it'll be a lot, but just interested to see how many people have competed, how many people have been a contest chair, a judge.
Hi, Bob. This is Susan Guerreri. I just wanted to let you know that I can't access the chat, so I'll just give you a thumbs up, okay?
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Thank you for the heads up. All right. Well, we got a lot of great answers, but I think we're still going to have to go through some training this evening, even though we got a lot of experience in the room. And my last question is, who has participated in a virtual online contest for Toastmasters? And if you did, please put where you've done that in the chat box. And I think my chat box is frozen. Oh, okay. No, this is great. We got a couple. All right. I knew I'd have a couple because I knew about them. I knew about Elizabeth Carter because of District 18, so that's good. Fantastic. We have a few others. I'm recruiting right now if you guys didn't know that, so I will save this chat to get in touch with you. I'm just kidding. We're all here working as a team anyways. So, of course, I have a point to that. The point that I have is we're all going on a new venture for the most part, and we're all going into uncharted waters for District 13 because this will be the first year that we are actually holding virtual contests. And I'm very excited to bring the team together this evening. And as I ask those questions, I think back over the past few months, and I'm not going to lie, I was extremely scared, nervous, confused when I learned, oh my gosh, we have to do virtual contests this year and we've not done it before. And I can say that up until the past week or so, I really felt that way and was getting more nervous and more nervous. And then we came together as a group, myself and the division directors. And I must say and thank all of our great division directors for spending time with me over the past few weeks, for brainstorming, for coming up with ideas, and for looking at the best practices and ways that we can make this a successful first ever virtual contest season here in District 13. And I'm very excited tonight to go over some of those differences that we will have with doing online contests. But before we do that, the one thing that I learned, and I will say that our division directors and myself have spent countless hours viewing other districts, going through online training, reading through manuals. And the one thing that I learned when I went down to Florida for a training a few Sundays ago was a gentleman did the training there, and he really put it into perspective for me. He said, don't lose sight of the fact that you've done successful contests for many years. The contests have not changed. So our contests are still the same. We've done contests many, many times, many, many years successfully. We've had people go all the way to the World Championship of Public Speaking. So we know we can do that, and we've had fun, we've done it well, and we've been very successful. Whether it was at the club, area, division, or district level, we've done that in the past, and we've made it work. The one thing that's changing is the way that we're doing it. But as we go through this online process, the one thing that I want us all to remember is, how did we do that? And how can we translate that into the Zoom world? And as you look at the things we're doing, that's exactly what the process is doing for us. We can't physically walk into another room and have our table topics contestants sit in that room until our sergeant of arms walks back out and tells them they can come in. Or can we virtually do that? And that's what we're going to discuss this evening. So keep that in mind. We are here as a team. The one thing we want to do is we want to provide all of our members the best contest experience that they can have. Just like we would with our meetings, providing quality meetings, we want to do the same with contests. And it's very important that we have some consistency across the district at each level of the contest, not only for all of our members, for all of our roles, but also for all of our contestants. That helps them prepare as they go up the ladder to the World Championships. And having that consistent platform will be very helpful to each of those contestants. Now, for our area directors, we always say that you guys are the most important part of our district team. And this is more important than ever because the contests start with our members at the club level. And you guys are in touch with them. You'll be helping them plan, and they'll be moving on to your area contest. So it's going to be very important that we all communicate and that we learn from the club contests. So prior to this event, I did send out a plethora, huge list of resources. And I hope that all of you had a little bit of time to review them, because tonight we're going to have a quick quiz show. And it's going to be Division A, Division B, Division C, and Division D, all vying for the title of Contest Training Quiz Show Champion. And this is the first inaugural Quiz Show Championship, so I need you all to get very excited. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch from trainer to quiz show host. And give me 1 second just to get into my quiz show mode so that we can get ready here. All right, it's time for the District 13 quiz show. And I am going to go through a series of questions to see who did their pre-work and went through the resources that I sent them. Now, this is going to be very important because all of your division directors are watching, so don't feel any pressure this evening at all. No, I joke around there and kid. I did start these questions off very simple, but I do want to show the value of the resources that I sent everyone. And I also want to review some of the things that are in those resources. Tonight, I don't want to spend a lot of time going over the eligibility, the process. Tonight, I want to focus on ways that we can prepare each other for the online platform. But I do want to highlight some of those things. So I am going to go through, and I will be starting with Division A. And the first round of questions, guys, we should be able to get these. We're going to start off real simple and move up. Now, I'm expecting there's a total of 12 questions, 3 per division. I'm expecting that we should have 100% here. So let's impress our division directors as we go through this process. Now, I'm going to start with Division A, and we can either volunteer or I will randomly pick you. Again, I highly recommend volunteering yourself early because we're going easiest to hardest. So first up, Division A. District 13 is holding 2 contests starting in November. Name one of the contests that we are holding this year. Ranga, it looks like you're ready. Go ahead.
Yep. International speech contest.
That is correct. We have 1 point for Division A. Great job. I'd love to unmute everyone, but I know some of us are going to yell out the answers, and we got to let our area directors get them right. All right. Way to start us off. To Division B. Name the other contests that we are holding starting in November.
Can I answer this? My AD have to.
I'm here, Chad. I was trying to turn on my video, but it's not working.
All right, Chad.
That's where I'm coming.
For the
All right,
team.
Chad, no pressure.
Table topics.
All right, ding, ding, ding. We are tied. 1 point for A, 1 point for B.
Division directors cannot participate, Jing.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Bob.
You may need to put Sergeant at Arms is your title now on this quiz show, and escort Jing out of the audience. All right, on to our third question for Division C. We're getting a little harder, but I think we can still get there. Any big volunteers coming up for Division C? I have the list.
You know what, Bob? You gotta ask the question now. You gotta be consistent. Ask the question and then let somebody volunteer.
Thank you. All right, this question is, what are the speech times for the International Speech Contest? What is the time frame for the speech? I believe
Nick's raising his hand, I believe.
All right. If you raise your hand and you're there, go ahead, Nick. You can yell out the answer.
Okay, it's 5 to 7. Do you want the 30-minute, 30-second interval?
You got it. We'll go with 5 to 7 to 30 seconds as a bonus. Thank you very much. And I'm assuming our Division D members can guess what question's coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
Division D, what are the times for the table topics contest? Emily was raising her hand.
Emily's not Division
No,
D.
you're C. Where's Division D?
Oh.
There we go. Susan.
2 minutes. 1 to 2 minutes.
All right. You guys got it. Isabel, Susan, you can have the next one. I saw your hand go up, and I know you can't chat, so I will catch you on the next round. All right. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and go back up the way we came down. So we're going to start with Division D this time. And for this one, we're going into a true or false. Since Susan raised her hand, we will go ahead and start with Susan, but I will read the question in case someone else knows it and wants to go, because I do not want Stephanie kicking me outside with Jing.
I hope I know it.
This is true or false. To be eligible, the contestant must be a paid member of the club, area, division, and district.
For which contest?
For either contest, the contestant must be a paid member to compete.
It has to be paid, but the club also has to be in good standing.
That is a bonus question and maybe a giveaway to the next division up. In quiz shows, you always want to give a straight answer so you don't give the other.
I know, but I hate true or false. But if it's a trick question.
Very good. That is correct. You must be a paid member.
Yes.
So Division C.
And Division C, you're welcome.
Good job, Susan.
And we can go with Emily, who I cut off last time, as she was trying to help Division D. So we're getting a lot of assistance here to the team. I love the support you guys are showing each other. Emily, this should be no surprise to you. To be eligible, the contestants' club must also be in good standing. True or false?
True.
Emily, that is correct. All right, so far we are living up to the expectations I had of the homework. and we'll move right on to Division B. Division B, we're getting a little trickier here, and I'm going to ask you a very personal question. And my personal question to Division B is, can I, meaning myself, Bob Johnson, participate in this year's international speech contest?
No.
All right, I have Kim Santillo bravely jumps in with the hand raise and verbally answers the question as false, which is correct. And if you go into the very handy speech contest rule book, there's a full listing of who is not eligible, and that would include, I believe, almost all of us on this call this year as being district officers that we would not be eligible to compete in the roles that we hold through June 30th. Great job. Thank you, Kim. Still all tied up. Let's see if we can trick someone up on this next question. So I go to Division A, and we have another true and false. Rahul lost the Area 3 contest in Division A. He can now compete in the Area 4 contest and try to win that one. True or false?
That's false.
Who had the answer there? I am sorry, there's a lot of boxes and screens here.
That's me, Dominic.
Dominic, thank you very much. That is correct. Once you must establish the area contest that you are participating in and cannot compete in another contest at the area level and beyond. Okay, we'll go back down with Division A again, and we have another true or false. Our last round, as we all remain tied. The last question for Division A. True or false, the tiebreaker judge should remain anonymous at all times. Division A, true or false?
True.
True, correct. True it is. All right, they're the first to get to 3, and we go to Division B. Division B, your question is also true or false. Judges should take into account the audio and visual quality when judging online contests. True or false, Division B? Little trickier here.
Come on, team.
Someone got it. I'll tell you this. Here's
You
a
have
hint.
a 50%
You
chance
have
of getting this right.
Oh my gosh, Jing and I think alike all the time. I was just saying, I'll give you a hint. You have a 50% chance.
Stop
Okay.
giving hints, guys.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, absolutely. I'll repeat the question. Judges should take into account the audio and visual quality when judging online contests.
I'll say false.
Yeah.
Was that Chad?
Yes.
Chad, you are a brave soul and put yourself out there and got your team to 3 points. So great job. That is false. We want to judge the contest, not the video and the audio. And we will talk about that as well later. All right, we are on to Division C. Your last question is a true or false. A club must hold a contest in order to send a contestant to the area level contest. True or false, Division C?
Yes,
I would say true, yeah.
true. True.
True?
Yes.
Wah, wah.
Oh,
We have our first wrong answer.
I dispute it.
We can dispute
Well, you
it. I
said
have
it
a
twice.
great resource for you to look at when you get back this evening before bedtime to read a story. There's a great rule book here that you can look through. No, clubs can actually use other means, and I believe Patty's phrase is always they can arm wrestle if they want to send a contestant. That's one I hear a lot. But they can elect to decide to move someone on if they only have one contestant or if they use a different system within their club. You cannot do that at the next levels, though. So the lesson in here is that the clubs can decide by other methods who would move on and do not have to have a contest.
The club's the only level that's able to do that.
Yes, thank you for the clarification, Stephanie. That is the only level. We will not arm wrestle at the area contests unless that's afterwards when we're celebrating the contestants. All right, and our last question is not a true or false. So we got a answer that we'll have to come up with here, and we'll see who is really paying attention. Who is on the cover of the 2020-2021 Toastmasters International Speech Contest Rule Book?
Miss Elizabeth, I know that answer for Division D is Aaron Beverly because he is my winner from District 18.
I did not even think about that when I had the questions ordered. Man, I could have stumped someone, but that was a giveaway for Elizabeth. But I think many of us know that. The reason I asked that question is not to plug my friend Aaron, who has come and visited us here in District 13. It is to give you a quick, easy reminder to pick up the correct version of the rule book. So make sure as you're downloading, you just don't download the rule book. If you go in, there's going to be many rule books, many years, many different languages. Make sure you get the one with Aaron Beverly's picture on it, and that will let you know that you have the correct year for this contest year. All right, well, that brings us to the end of our quiz show. I think that everyone did a wonderful job. Thank all of you for being courageous, for stepping up, and for providing answers. And we did very well. I did get to stump everyone on that club contest. So that is one that we'll want to read up on as we go through. All right, I am now going to change my background back to a Toastmasters background because the fun and games are over and it's time to get serious with some contest details. And if I could have my fellow CSI agent pull up the slides, we'll go ahead and get started and go through some information. Now, again, as I said at the beginning, we showed this is a new venture for all of us. We're not going to be able to cover everything this evening. This is an ongoing process that we're going to develop, that we're going to work together, and that we're going to build to make sure the members have all the resources that they need. So I do want to highlight some things, and then I want to leave ample time at the end for Q&A. So there's some things in here that are high level that we know that we can kind of skim over. There's some things that we want to pinpoint. And then at the end, I will give everyone ample opportunity to ask our leadership team questions, to talk amongst each other as we get towards the end here and discuss some next steps. So let's go ahead to the first slide. And as you know, we will begin our District 13 speech contest here with, as in the questions we answered. Whoop, thank you, Jen. And the first contest that we'd like to highlight is the International Speech Contest. Again, the rule book is your say-all for all of the information you need. I know many of us are familiar with the International Contest because that's the one that we have on an annual basis every year. Now, it is the only contest, this should have been a good trivia question, maybe for our next round, that it is the only contest that goes beyond the district. And this is the contest that goes all the way to the World Championship of Public Speaking. And as you guys pointed out, the one thing we want to keep in mind from the club up to the district level is the time frame, which you guys correctly answered, 5 to 7 minutes. And were some bonus points for the 30-second window on each side of that 5 to 7 minutes. And we'll go on to the table topics. Again, this information I know a lot of us are familiar with, but just want to highlight a few things. Of course, we want to make sure that every contestant receives the same question. We also, and this is very important in the online world, we used to do it, as I said earlier, by moving people into other rooms, keep the question secret and not make contestants aware of it until they are called to the contest stage to answer the question. So we want to keep the secrecy of that question until the contest chair can ask them. Again, to highlight, 1 to 2 minutes, we correctly answered that with the less than 1 minute and greater than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So those are the 2 contests that we are having. And we're very excited to have both of those here in District 13 this year. The materials that I sent out contain a lot of the information that you need for your speech contest. The one thing I do want to highlight that was in the email that I sent with the materials is that it contains all of the forms that you need to conduct the contest. The information on those forms is located on the Toastmasters website and the link I sent you, and you can go in and you can download the zip files for both the international and the table topics contests. It's also readily available on the contest section of the District 13 website as well, if you like to frequent our website, which I highly recommend everyone does. Nice plug for Jackie and her team. The website is updated with the latest materials for this contest year. This is a list of the materials that are within those zip files. It's going to have your rule book, your eligibility forms, your timesheets, your judges' guides, ballots, all of the eligibility forms, your tally sheets. And I did put after each of these the numbers, because if you for some reason were looking for a specific number or a specific form and had to go into Toastmasters website, if you type that number up in a search, it's going to bring that form up for you. And then, of course, you have the contestant profiles, results forms, and the important notification of winners. Again, the rule book we now know for 2020-21 has Aaron Beverly's picture on it, and that is the photo there. So you are aware if you did not know who Aaron was. On to the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the roles. Now, I saw from the chat that many of us have filled a ton of roles over the years. For the most part, the roles are the same online as they were in person. You have your contest chair, your Toastmaster, the judges, including your chief judge, your contest judge, and the anonymous or secret tiebreaker judge. And then for this year, you have the Zoom master, and you're going to want to make sure that you have someone that is very familiar with and able to run the Zoom platform. I think that the one thing that would be a good practice is to start seeking those people out now. As we go through the club levels and they're planning their contest, it's a good place to do some research and recruiting to see who's very fluent, accurate, and knows the Zoom system well. And you're also going to want to make sure that those Zoom masters have assistants. So they have what we're calling contest hosts, or Zoom Master, as well as your co-host. So make sure that we have ample people assisting and going. As you can see, you'll have things that will happen online. Your slides could disappear and you have to remember them and potentially forget that you left out timers, ballot counters, and sergeant at arms, but those roles remain the same. I won't go in each individual role, but I do have a suggestion. As you go through the materials that I emailed you, there is a link in the materials that goes to speech contest tutorials. And if you are someone that has not filled a lot of these roles, if you're not experienced in contest, this is a very simple way to learn all of the roles, to go through and learn the process. If you're a expert and have filled many roles, or a contestant that went all the way to the district finals, it's still a great place to go back and refresh yourself. That link is available in the packet that I sent in the email, as well as on our district website and on our Facebook page. I added that today because I was going through myself, and it's a great video kind of tutorial that takes you through that you can just watch on the Toastmasters link. And I happened to have it up because I was watching it earlier this afternoon. Just don't tell my boss, oh, this is being recorded. The video was on there, so I'll send that right there in the chat box in case anyone wants to take a look at that or have a quick link to it. I really think that it covers all the basics and is a good start. Okay, so we covered all of those roles quickly here, and we'll get into some more specifics about each as we go through some of the online effects that we'll have. So if we could go ahead and go to the next slide here. We're going to talk about a few things with the online contest, and you're going to hear some words that are repetitive throughout this. And those are going to be preparation and communication. Again, those words are going to be preparation and communication, because those two words are going to be vital to success with online contests. They were vital to doing contests in person, but online, we don't always have the ability to interact the way we do in person. So we have to come up with creative ways to simulate that online. So being prepared and getting things done ahead of time, as well as communicating with our team, not only prior to, but during the contest, is going to be the key to success. And we're going to go through each of these and how it affects everyone from the team running the contest all the way to our audience members who are enjoying the contest. If we all work together and do these things and get consistent and practice and work at it, it's going to make life a lot easier. And it's going to make us run incredible, awesome contests for all of our members. So we'll dive right in and go to the next slide. A lot of this is featured in the form that I sent called Best Practices for Online Speech Contests. It's a great form to download, keep handy in your files, print out and have ready, read through when you're done with your rule book and still can't fall asleep. That document highlights a lot of great ideas. So preparation. As we know, District 13 will be utilizing Zoom because we have accounts available for our divisions to use. Each division has a Zoom account. We have district accounts here at the district level. We can utilize them throughout the contest season, especially through the planning process. We'll work through that to make sure that those are all available and have them ready for your use. Again, one of the things that is a difference is we need to add the Zoom Master now. And it's going to be important that we have a Zoom Master that we can count on that can help, a Zoom Master that we can count on that can help us with, all of the technical aspects of a contest. They're able to help with breakout rooms. they have someone working with them to monitor the chat. We don't want a lot of chat going through at all because it is going to potentially interrupt the speaker. And I do see that some questions are coming through. I know I'm going to do a lot of talking, and we will go through these questions. So I will check the chat box, and we will go through them during the Q&A at the end because I want to hit them all at one time. We will use in the past, we've used various ways to draw the contestant order. We will continue to do that in meeting with our division directors. One awesome idea that came up, I'm not sure how many people are familiar yet, but the wheel of names. I've added that link to the end of this presentation so that you will have that available, and I can share that link as well at the end. It's a great fun way. We want this to be exciting. Online is going to take a little bit of the audience excitement out so there's not distractions. So where we can be exciting with drawing the names with the wheel of names, just like we've done in the past, people would use cards, draw lots, pull names out of a hat. Keep that excitement going. Again, we don't want to lose fact that we're having contests, and contests are fun and exciting part of Toastmasters and a great experience for our members to enjoy. So we want to make sure that we're sending all of the forms in advance. We tried to do this in person in the past, but there was always someone that left one in the car or waited till the last minute. It's going to be vital in the digital world with getting these forms together that we get them ahead of time. It is going to save you a ton of work and a lot of time come contest day to have all that information prior to the contest. You want to allow a lot of time for participants and audience members to arrive, and also for all of the contestants and roles to get there extra early. We're going to want to make sure that our judges remain anonymous. We have tried to do this in person. It's not a change. It's just a different way of going about this. In the past, we would keep our judges anonymous. I'm sure in smaller contests, we could all look from the stage and kind of see who had a ballot and was writing. But online, we're actually going to eliminate that process even better, because we will not be using any names, photos, or identifying factors for our judges. A quick look as to how this will be accomplished, as you see here at the top, is that it just says judge number 3, and they will be judge number 3 from the time they come in early until the contest is over, and only the people in the background that are working the contest would know that information. So that's a great way to have the judges remain anonymous with their cameras off and no photo. And of course, in addition to the preparation and communication, we want to have backup systems in place. If your computer goes dead, have a phone, an iPad ready as a backup. It's always a good practice. I have one sitting here and hope that I don't have to jump on there to get back on Zoom because I'm on my laptop, but it's always a good thing to do, whether you're at a club meeting or just on a meeting in general. As we go to the next slide, we'll hit a few more highlights. Communication during the contest. This is where things are going to become a little different than in the past. We could always in person pull people to the side, have conversations, have a quick huddle, go over the order. The natural way to do that is breakout rooms. And the way to have backup forms of communication and back channels is to use either chat, instant messaging, cell phones outside of the meeting. So for things that you need to communicate with the group, we will use a back channel. And the best ways to do that are going to be by email, group text, or an app. And we suggest WhatsApp. We use that successfully for many district events like TLI, the Fall Symposium. Very good way to communicate with people behind the scenes, and you're not interrupting, disrupting, or getting information. If you were using the chat box, even privately, it could be a disaster if I was sending Stephanie the winner of the contest before anyone else knew, or I posted the table topics question and everyone saw it. So we want to make sure that vital information that is shared between the contest roles is not shared in the public setting. And that will be something we'll focus on. You're going to want multiple channels of those chats, those WhatsApps, those email groups, because multiple roles are going to be communicating. Everyone's going to want to be in communication with the chief judge, so they'll want their information. You're going to have 2 timers that are working together. They'd want their communication. Judges, ballot counters, etc. And you can see the point there as we read through the list. We want everyone to have a form of communication that they can get in touch with each other, exchanging the information that they need throughout the contest. We also want to make sure that we have people identified in their roles that do not need to remain anonymous. And the way we will do that, very similar to our meetings, a lot of times we go into meetings and I see that Dr. Carter has her name as AD35. We're going to do a similar process in the meeting or in the contest roles where chief judge would be CJ, contest chair CC, timer TM, etc. We're also going to want our contestants to identify themselves. So once we draw from the wheel of names and they know their number, they can be contestant number 1, C1, plus their name. And then, of course, we talked about the anonymous roles being judges and ballot counters, and they would use their blank screen with their judge number and ballot counter number. Pretty straightforward there. We'll use those processes and be consistent with those as we go from each contest level. And as we go on to the next slide, some things we just want to highlight from the contest chair and the chief judge. Very wordy slide, I apologize, but I wanted it to be what was in the reading for best practices because there's some important information in here as we go through the online. And wanted that to be a resource for you to refer back to. So have backup contest officials, very important. Someone could lose connection. If they do and miss a whole speech, that could be a big issue. Determine how you're going to communicate the process for protest. So if there is a protest, I suggest you always have a protest room set up as a breakout room, because if one occurs, you're going to need to go there to discuss that in the breakout room. The judging criteria, as we talked, this was another question on the quiz. The judging criteria is the same for online as it was in person. We should not be judging the video, the audio quality. We should be judging the speech based on the content in each contest. Another important point, as you're pulling those contest documents, make sure that you are using the table topics forms for the table topics contest and the international forms for the international contest. Make sure that we are adhering to all of the guides and ballots. Again, that quiz question is in there. You're not judging audio or video. If there are technical difficulties, which we know are going to occur, there's going to be breakage in stream, there's going to be people that are dropped off. The judges have the ability to stop and resume the contest due to technical issues, and that's going to be important. That's a little different than in person, that you know, we were live and there weren't interruptions such as the Wi-Fi going out or someone's connection being lost, but that's going to be a very important point. The other thing that's important, and we had to do in person as well, but make sure you're checking, especially since we're online and can't physically see and meet everyone, if anyone has any issues or disabilities with the setting. So we do have people in Toastmasters that have certain disabilities that we may have to set up special things, such as they're unable to see. They may have hearing impairment. And one that I always forget and just take for granted is make sure no one is colorblind. If you have someone, please make sure that you are putting the name of the color on the timer cards, because if they can't see the colors, they can't decipher which one is the correct card. So that is something that can be overlooked, but good to double check when you're talking with the contestants. Of course, we will have the contest chair outline the speaking area. Determine a method for the timers to indicate when the 1 minute of silence is up. Just like in the contest, we will have that there will be 1 minute between each speaker for the ballots to be completed. Very similar to the way many of us do that between our speeches at our clubs. And then also, one thing that you really want to make sure is that you double check the pronunciation of the name and also the speech title. So when we're introducing the name and speech title, we want to make sure that we have that information. Moving on to the next slide, the contestants. Make sure that you're holding contestant briefings. We've always done those in the past. It's good to do those early and ahead of time and then have a quicker one before the contest to draw the order, to go over the speaking, to go over all of the things that you need, double check the names, double check the speech titles. Review that designated speaking area. Again, we are now in a box. The typical thing that you're going to read throughout this is that you want to probably keep about a 3-foot area between the source of the video and audio so that you can still hear everyone. The further they get back, the harder they're going to be to see. They're also going to be harder to hear unless they're using headphones and a microphone. So keep that in mind and identify that at the contest. We want to test the contestants' audio at the beginning during the briefing. And then we suggest that once it's tested, you can hear, you can see them, that they do not move. They don't move their camera, they don't move their microphone, they leave it in that area so that we know that works. We will test that again before they speak as a secondary. We have a backup for everything. The contest chair is going to ask them to test their audio, and they will say, check, yes, works. Contestant confirms it's working. This does not count, again, does not count as a start of their speech. That is confirming the equipment is working and functioning. The contest chair, once that is confirmed, will then go into the standard introduction that we did, which would begin the contest, and then we would start timing on the contestants' first verbal or gesture or motion as we did in the past, but we do not count when we're checking. And on to the next one. This is an important thing to remember and can be overlooked. I have a big X there, and we'll explain this to you. We've had this issue in the past in paper form, in envelopes. It's a little easier then because you would hear the ripping in the room, but we want to make sure that we only submit the bottom portion of the ballot. You can see this dark box that I put around the bottom. There is a kind of mock perforation there that you would rip off. What we'll want to do is sign that, take a photo, and then send that via text, email, etc. to the team that you're working with on your back channel. It's a very important part. We don't want to send the full form, just the bottom. And that is going to be something that you'll review with your team as you're going through that process. Another thing you want to make sure is you're sending your ballot in as a judge is to make sure you get confirmation that that was received. If you're working from a laptop and it's easiest for you to send it via email, express that, work with your team and the judge collecting that ballot. The chief judge, you can work with them to make sure that that system is in place, but make sure you have a good system that you're going to use that you know not only is going to get the form there, the bottom portion of the form, but also making sure that they send a response so you know that it was received. Our next slide, please. Timers. It's very important. We have always had 2 timers. We usually saw 2 people sitting up in the front of the room at a table with the cards very close to the speaking area. We will keep that same process on the online version of the contest. The timers will be identified as timer number 1 and timer number 2. Our suggestion and the way to keep consistent across the district is to use the Toastmaster International timers cards, the virtual ones. The link is included in this. You can find them online, but I have included it in the materials for the training. Timer number 1, they are the official timekeeper of the contest, and they are using their timing device to time each speaker. And then they are putting the speech times onto the timing record sheet. Timer number 2, they're using their timing device to operate the signaling device, which in this case will be our virtual green, yellow, and red timer cards. We want to make sure that those are clearly visible. You want to make sure that they have their webcam on the entire time to provide the timing clues. Those are going to come from a blank black screen that says timer number 2, and the colors should pop very well from a black screen to a green screen to a yellow to a red, and those should be very visible as we go through. We talked earlier that there could be technical difficulties. If there are technical difficulties, the chief judge will assess and handle them with the team. And there is a 30 seconds extra overtime, and that would be if there was a technical difficulty of the signaling device. So if the timer using the timing cards had an issue or the device was not visible for some reason, there was an outage, they would be able to allow the 30 seconds extra overtime after they resume the speech. So that is something to keep in mind. We hope that doesn't happen, but chances are it could, and we just want to be prepared for that should it occur. Next slide, please. We even have some changes that we have to invoke on the audience. The audience was always there, visible, in front of the speaker at the contest. There are a few things that videos on a large audience can have a negative effect on the Zoom. 1, that many webcams will really slow down the bandwidth. 2, webcams can be a very big distraction to the speakers. And the microphones can pick up background noise, so we will always want to mute all of our audience throughout the speech contest. We also want to have the audience have their video off during the contest, and it is preferred that they do not have photos. And that is something that will be a tip that you'll want to have them go outside into their Zoom profile, go to their Zoom profile that they log in with, and where their picture is, they'll just want to hit delete picture, and that will take it away. And when that occurs, you will see it's just a blank screen with the name. Okay, so the Zoom Master will be helping throughout this whole process on the technical end, and they will mute attendees and monitor that throughout the contest. We want to make sure that the chat box is not distracting, and you want to make sure that that is off and monitored by the Zoom Master and contest chair, only to be used if someone would have a technical difficulty. Again, there's back channels going on between the contestants, and the roles if necessary. So if, you know, a contestant had a technical difficulty, they can get in touch with the chief judge. There's communications going there. We don't want a lot of chat. We want to inactivate that as much as possible, and that will only be going to the Zoom master in most cases. Again, you can see Mike Carr, if you might be familiar with that name, stopped by, and he followed all the rules and had his set up correctly for an audience member. If you didn't know, Mike Carr is the current reigning online world champion of public speaking. Next slide, please. I'm not going to read through this. As I had to do prior to this meeting, when I hit that record button, I had to give a statement alerting you to the fact that I am recording this for educational purposes for our team. This is a statement that you'll want to include in your script for the contest chair or Toastmaster to read to the audience. And this is the general statement for online contests coming directly from Toastmasters International. And this is letting them know about the recording and all of the features. I won't read it. You're going to have this. This will be in the materials. It'll read right through as we read through in the past rules, you know, turn off your cell phones, those type of things, announcements, housekeeping. This will become a standard within that process. Next slide, please. Table topics. So table topics is a little different and poses some of its own challenges. And where that occurs is we can't have the contestants hear the question prior to speaking. So as we've done in the past, we're going to physically take our table topics contestants, and I've been in that room many times. We go to a room far away down the hall. Sergeant at Arms lets us in, tells us when it's our time, and then we go to the stage. We're going to use breakout rooms to do that. Now, a few things. We're going to have 2 Sergeant at Arms because this is going to be necessary to have one in the contest room and one in the breakout room. The Sergeant at Arms, in addition to letting people know when it's their turn to go back to the main contest room, also has to monitor the contestants. Now, I know that we all are Toastmasters and we all know our core values, and the first one is integrity. And we do trust in that and assume that our members are going to go through this process with integrity. However, we do want to monitor that no one is using any outside sources to get the question ahead of time. They're not texting. You don't see them on the phone saying, oh, the question was. So keep an eye on that. Alert your Sergeant at Arms. Make sure we are monitoring that. Again, I trust that most of our Toastmasters would not do that. However, we do want to make sure that we are addressing that. Okay, we'll go on to the next slide. Awards. Now, we've always done the awards at our contests, and there are a few ways that people are doing this right now. I believe that my preference, along with our team so far, has been that we kind of do it the way we've done it live in person, which is while we're getting the information together, we're doing the interviews with the contestants. We're tallying and doing everything in the background. We're getting our, in the past, handwritten, or some people did have printers, awards ready. We were doing the interviews and then we get them ready. So while the interviews are going on, we can be working on doing the virtual certificates. And typically we awarded those at the end of the contest after we've gone through the interviews, which I think is a good way. I highly recommend. It's very consistent. It fills some time. Some people actually pause the contest, take a long break. They even end the online. And I think that may create a lot of trouble with people getting back in and out. Even if you took a break at that time, at least the people are still gathered and following. So to me, I think that the awards, again, they do leave some interpretation, but we want some consistency. I think following the first option is best, and we should probably try to emulate that from the club contest all the way up. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, and I do want to leave the time I allotted for question and answer, but I do want to highlight a few things. We're, again, going through this process together as a team. We're going to learn along the way. We're going to find things that we go, wow, that was going to work so much better than what Bob told us way back on October 14th. As our region has trainings, we're going to have more information and have people that ran contests and say, oh, we were doing it this way, but wow, this works even better. It's easier, it's quicker. There may be new tools that come out. So we want to, one, communicate and work as a team. Again, the ultimate goal is that we provide a consistent contest across the divisions, across the areas, across the clubs, and ultimately across all of District 13. And that will allow us to not only help our contestants, but also make our life easier because we know the process along the way. I can't express enough, again, we talked about preparation and communication, those pre-planning meetings, not just with the roles, but with the contestants and getting them ready and making sure that we have all of the eligibility forms well before the contest start. We make sure that we have all of the interview and get to know the contestant information. All of that up front. We're having our judging briefings, our timer briefings. All that information ahead of time will be very helpful. A few things we've been talking about. It's very, very important to practice. I strongly urge, clubs and people that are doing this to practice it prior to doing their actual live contest. One thing that you're going to know is that the contests online are going to run a little longer. It's a good practice to probably start, and I think this is something if clubs can do, we should do, is start with your table topics contest because there's less preparation for the contestant. And it gives you an opportunity without the added pressure of preparing a speech and you're answering an impromptu question to do maybe your table topics speech first as a club and then do your international. If you can have them at 2 different times. Again, a lot of clubs meet for an hour. It's going to be very hard to get both contests done in 1 hour online. So that's a good way to practice. The one thing I do as we look at this process is work together. I highly recommend our area directors as you're working with your clubs and getting their dates, if you're able, and attending their meetings. If you see things that they did and go, wow, this was so smooth. I can't believe that no one thought about doing it this way. Let's share those ideas. Let your division directors know. We can talk about that as a team. We can get the word out and go, yes, this is definitely something that we should include as we move up through the levels. So that consistency, that teamwork, that communication is going to be very, very helpful. And on to our next slide, I just want to reiterate a few things. Just some additional best practices. First of all, this is a lot of wordy, technical rules, regulations, implementations that we're going through. Let's not lose sight of the fact that we are having a fun Toastmasters experience. The contests are a fun time. They're a time to learn, to experience, to celebrate, and it really is camaraderie amongst a team, a group, friendly competition. It's a great part of our Toastmasters journey that we should embark and continue. Don't let the word online going in front of contests take away the fun. Communication, again, communicate with your teams, arrive early, check and test all the equipment as much as possible. Your Zoom masters, again, are going to be very important in aiding with the technical side. If you develop and have a strong system and a strong Zoom master, it takes all of that worry from the online virtual world out of it, and you're just having a contest on a new platform. Make sure you're providing agendas, all of the documents are taken care of ahead of time and all of the roles are filled. I like the idea of adding your roles and even your contestants as co-hosts. That probably won't be necessary in smaller club level contests, but it does move them to the top of the participant list. so that you can see them and quickly get to them. For example, Jing is doing the slides and she is a co-host. And as soon as I scroll up, she's number 1 on the list because she's a co-host. So that's a good tip. Greeting people upon entry, there's going to be a lot of dead time during the contest with black screens, and it's going to be not the most exciting. It's going to feature the speaker. It's going to spotlight the speaker, the Toastmaster, the contest chair. You're not going to see a lot of other people. During breaks, when we're greeting and getting people in, keep high energy, keep people, you know, talking, engaged. You can do different things during downtime, such as, you know, fill it with maybe trivia, upcoming events, if it's your club, if it's your area, division, district. Announce your events during those times. You can even put them on slides as you're working through. Some other things we want to make sure is that we do, again, have people turn off their video and microphones, and pinning the timer can be a very, very important thing to make sure that they are at the top and visible to everyone. Last, there's some things in District 13 that I do want to note. We do have a contest chair that I was able to verify just this afternoon. So Robert Thistlethwaite will be assisting us. Robert and I will be working with everyone to help organize contest dates and make sure we get them to our great public relations team so that they are advertised, so that they're out to other clubs that want to attend. I think this is more than ever a great time to join other people's contests to see what they're doing, how they did it, learn ideas, and also prepare. We do have a new a new address that you can reach us at as we do that. And I'll work with your division directors. I know you'll talk about these in your council meetings, but getting those schedules together, the email address for Robert and Robert, we will go by Rob and Bob to make that easy. Contestants, plural, at D13TM.com. I will announce here, because we do need to make that public, that we will be, as we have done for the past numerous years, we will be implementing the 2 contestant moving on rule for 2020, 2021. For those of you that may not be familiar with that, you can read that in its entirety in section 3, pages 7 and 8 of the 2020-2021 rulebook. And that just means that if you have, for example, our district has 4 divisions. If you have 4 or less, you can move 2 contestants on. If you have 5 or more, then you can only move 1 contestant on. And that would apply to your area, your division, and your district. Robert and I will be working as dues and things are coming in to update those lists as often as we can to share with the division and area director so you can monitor. But for example, if your area only has 4 clubs, you will be moving on 2 contestants. If you have 5 or more clubs, you will be moving on only 1. And we can go through that list as we go through the process together. We have time, as you'll see in the schedule, as we're planning those area and division contests down the road. All right, just a few other things real quick, and then we'll open the Q&A. Make sure you're monitoring eligibility and make sure that you are conducting the contestant interviews. An important thing I want to note here, and this sometimes can get overlooked, when you are filling out and receiving from the clubs the notification of winner. So notification of winner will go from the club to the area, area to the division, division to the district. Especially at the club level, area level, you definitely want to get the entire list of the places. A lot of times people will just put first and then turn it in, or first through third and turn it in. I've been to multiple contests that I've been a member or a contestant or a role, and people do not show up, or they cancel last minute. We need to find. So keep in mind that that order does allow the next place winner to move should the person above them not be able to go. And it would go, the first place couldn't make it, second couldn't make it, goes to the third. So keep that in mind. Also, one thing that we want to keep aware of is that We don't want to in any way duplicate the table topics question. So it's a little harder to monitor, but if we can, please maybe write those on the back or on the bottom of your sheets as you pass them on and get them to myself and Robert, and we will keep track. We don't want someone that just, just won the area contest with what's your favorite color, get on the district final stage and the question is, what's your favorite color? Not that we would ask those, but as an example. All right, and of course, monitor selection of judges. Be safe, be careful, make sure that you don't have a contestant that just competed in the contest and went to the next level judging that same contest. Make sure that you don't have, a club that has a member have 3 judges. We want to avoid those things the best we can. We understand that that's not possible at the club level because you're having your club members do that. But as we move on, be cautious and monitor that. Okay, on to the important part. I know we're going to have a lot of questions, and I do want to try to end on time and answer as many as possible. I do have all the resources that were sent to you, the contest resources, so I won't recap them for sake of time. This does have a few more. If you can go to the next slide here, Jing. I did add the wheel of names as well as the timer Zoom backgrounds to this. Those were not on the original list because those came up as best practice implementations as we met as a team with your division directors. Okay, I am winded, but I have teammates here that can help me. We will go ahead and open it up to Q&A. I did see a few that we can start with, and if I missed any, please start, but I know Gabrielle had one that I saw flash, and okay, I found that. So Gabrielle's question was, what if there's nobody who knows that? And I know that came when the Zoom question came up.
That's right. I mean, I only know about 2 people who know how to handle Zoom meetings. One of them is me, and then there's a long line of nothingness. And every time I have somebody manage Zoom, they don't know how to handle a breakout room. They don't know how to mute everybody. We have companies who run commercials on the Committee Act of Zoom meetings. And I really don't want to get involved in this. I'm really shocked that we are even decided to go on with this. I find you had so many have to do this, they have to do that, and who would do this other than the area director? And I'm thinking, yeah, right. So who do you have that can be a resource to handle that?
So we do have, there's a few things here. And this is going to be a question I know that's going to come up, and this is where the teamwork communication becomes important. I would start now identifying people within your areas that are, if you do not have them, there may be resources. Keep in mind that you are, and it's probably better, I will give an example. John Sinclair and I, the year that we were division directors together, partnered and assisted each other. So I believe, John, at the time, I was your chief judge and you were my chief judge. And we worked across our divisions. I highly recommend those partnerships, because you may have 7 great Zoom masters in area 35 and only 2 in area 2. In addition to that, we do plan on providing additional training on the Zoom platform. We are working on that and can get that information together. So if you have someone that is running Zoom online meetings, they may need more training. We are planning as a district to have the more technical side. And that would have people that are very good at this, like Steve Sokolowski, Verta Perry, that have done this, that have run TLIs with hundreds of people on it, that can teach us the skills we need to run an online contest. So don't let the resources scare you. Let's work together again and see what we do have available, you know, based on schedule, when the contests are. Another thing is contest scheduling will be very important because we want to share those resources as well. I saw that there was one about the cards from someone that came across. Those cards you can download. The version on Toastmasters has a little writing up in the left-hand corner. I suggest, especially if you're aware of anyone with a, you know, visual impairment or colorblind, that you do put a larger version of, you know, green, red, yellow on those.
I think we should all, Bob, I think you're right about that. I think everybody should do that. I don't think that should just, I think everybody from the area division, all of us should do that with those cards, because it is very small writing and they're not able to see that.
Yeah,
because I use them in our meetings. I use them in our meetings, every meeting, for timing, and they cannot read that little writing at the top.
Okay, I will note that here. I know they're out there. I've seen them in many of the numerous videos, or we may just create them ourselves with the. There we go. Again, Elizabeth.
Yeah, can they just share them with everybody then? Send them.
Yeah, we can just, it'll be a resource we share. That makes sense.
Elizabeth, if you get a chance and have those, send those to contests@d13tm.com. That'll test my email, and that'll get things going on that contest side. And then I will get them out to all of the division directors who can share them with everyone within their area directors in their division. Great. This is why we're working as a team, collaborating and sharing best ideas and practices. Great job. Okay, there was a question on the minimum number of judges. There are outlines of a number of judges required at each contest level within the rule book. I can, if anyone has questions on that, review that with you. We can also put that information together if it's something that we need to highlight or pull out of the book, but Alicia, that's a great question. Also, at the club level, you got to keep in mind that there's going to be limited resources in many circumstances. So, you know, I've seen where we had to adjust, we had to reach out to other clubs within the area to help fill roles. So we can look at that as the specifics of the rule book. We can look at that as a situation. I think that's something that we work with our, you know, our clubs and our area directors. And if there's specific questions on whether something is able to be done, let me know, and we can address those on an individual basis as well. But those outlines are in the rule book. Did I miss? Let me see. I don't think I missed anything that I see with a question mark. If you did not, and Cassie, I got your message here about not receiving those documents. I'll get those out to you right after the meeting. If anyone else did not receive them or needs them, please let me know. You can send that actually to the contest as well, since we've talked about that, or you can use my PQD address from the district website.
Hi, Bob. I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you said we should avoid duplicating table topics questions, right? So this is the first time I am participating in the table topic contest. So how can we do that? Like now, if there are 4 clubs in area 3, and if they're conducting the table table topics contest at club level, and the winners are coming to the area 3, how can I make sure I'm not repeating the same question they asked at the club level contest? Then how division A contest, how can I make sure they are not repeating the same question I asked in the area context?
I think that one way we can try to best monitor that is to ask that question on the winner notification form. If you can write that.
Okay.
And ask when they do that. That's not a standard practice, but I think that'll help. Now, obviously, it's possible that because it starts at the club level, the 2 clubs could ask without ever knowing, but that wouldn't be as much of a problem because they would have asked those questions individually and wouldn't be doing it again at the next level.
So, Bob, are we asking this so that the district has a good question, or are we asking this to prevent anybody from asking the same question? I'm not sure that what's the purpose of that? I mean, I can understand us sending you the questions from all of our contests so that the district has a contest that hasn't been repeated before, but does it really matter that Area 32's question was similar to Area 2's question?
No, it's not going to I mean, I think it's just something that we want to, if we can, again, monitor so that we're not giving a contestant an unfair advantage.
No, what I'm saying is at the district level is what we're talking about though, right?
Well, I think that
district and division, I'll put it that way, right?
I think that if we try to monitor it the entire way up, if that's possible, that would be a good practice to try to avoid that happening. I know that it's not 100% proof. It could occur. But yes, to your point, I think that we really want to be concerned about that at the district and division areas especially. You actually have more of a chance of that happening because there's been more contests that occurred. Again, that's not a rule. That is just a best practice that I'm just bringing to people's attention.
No worries. I'm just saying that since we really can't relegate clubs, and I know that we're asking that if we don't get it from that level, that's not going to stop anyone from having a contest, is what I'm saying. And some clubs may not even have contests.
Yeah, it's not a rule, not anything that's going to, make the world end. Just a suggestion to, yeah, if it happens, it happens. I mean, it's just one of them things that we bring out as a, hey,
Hey, Bob, this is a time check. We do have one more question from Gabrielle.
Okay.
What if only one club wants to participate in the contest? Do we have to have an area contest? I'll let you decide if you want to answer it, or I can answer it, whichever you.
You know what? Go ahead, Jane. I've talked quite a bit this evening.
So, unfortunately, the answer is yes, that an area contest needs to be held, even if there's only one contestant from one club. But we have time, Gabrielle. I realize there's a lot of challenges in your area. And the reason we're talking about it now, pretty early in the game, even though the clubs can start having contests in November, they really have until January to do the contest. And then the area, and the next slide, which we haven't shown yet, will shed some light on the scheduling. But like what people have said already, we plan on providing more training, help each other on the area level to help our clubs, help each other on the area contests before the division contests. And then all of the division directors are here to support one another. And the district is here to also help us provide resources.
No, absolutely. And thank you, Jing. And I do want to add again that, keep in mind, don't let the enormous amount of information we just shared tonight scare you away. There's going to be additional training. There's going to be additional resources. We're going to work as a team. Again, just Stephanie and I having a full transparent conversation in front of you. we want to talk about these things. We want to make sure we're making the best decisions. We want to make sure we're communicating. We want to make sure that we're providing the best platform. For all of you, we want to make this successful for our members and as easy as possible for all of you who are giving your time to lead the district. So take advantage of that. Again, your division directors have been unbelievable with assisting me, with giving input, with providing resources from other contests that they may have attended. Let's continue to keep that channel open. And I know we're here at the end, and I do want to respect everyone's time because it is a late night. It's a lot of information to go through. We are here to assist, and by we, I mean all of us together on the call. Let's collaborate. I did have a couple private messages that asked, can we get assistance from other areas? Yes, we can assist each other. If you need resources, I gave the example of John and I working together. It's fully a team effort to pull off all these tasks, and it always has been. I've been to many other areas, divisions that were not my own home club areas or divisions. Please feel free to partner, work together, and if you help someone and they help you, it's an even better way to fill those roles and those seats. With that said, are there any of my division directors that want to add anything in closing that I may have missed? Any words of wisdom, knowledge, thanks? Please go ahead, and then we will go ahead and end the evening. We do have the schedule up with when the club area, the division directors are so good, they already have their dates set. And then, of course, we will end in the spring with the District 13 finals.
I just want to, Stephanie, Bob, I just want to thank you for getting this together and getting us together and making it clear what we need to be thinking about and doing as teams, as divisions, as areas, etc., and extending the invitation to everyone. And also thank you for getting Cassie's address all taken care of, Michelle. Much appreciated. I think this is a fantastic start in terms of getting us all prepared, and thank you once again for your leadership.
No, and thank you. And I mean, honestly, I wasn't opening early with that scared, that nervousness, that how are we going to do this? But I mean, just talking with our team and knowing what's going on, I have the full confidence in everyone that we can do this together. And I do appreciate everyone taking their time again. Were there any other division directors that had anything?
Hi,
John,
Bob.
Pat, go ahead, Marcy.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to say thank you again for really pulling together all these resources. And I'm sure you're going to share your slide deck, right, with us as information. And I really look forward to this. This is exciting. This is my favorite part of Toastmasters, our speech contest. So let's have fun, everyone.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm excited as well. And please share those dates as we get them, as we're starting to get them, send them to that contest address. I want to try to attend as many as I can. I know that physically isn't going to happen to get to everyone with work and daytime clubs, but I want to see this from the ground up. So I'm very excited. With that, any other from John, Patty? I know John will probably tell you about area director visits. It's that time of year.
Area director visits. Yes, we had a trio call. We had a quad meeting this morning, and I had communicated that 40% of the area director visits have been submitted to TI. So I thank you all very, very much for that. You saw my email prior this week. I know that some of you have already completed your area visits, but may have not submitted them into TI directly. So I thank you for that as well. But we are up against a deadline of end of November to have all your area director visits reports in. So I'll keep reminding you almost every 2 weeks that we want to keep on doing that, so that all of you get credit where credit is due.
Thank you. Okay, well, it has been a long night. I took an extra 6 minutes, and that was probably from the exciting quiz show. Congratulations to everyone for such a wonderful job. And in true District 13 fashion, I will end with one statement, and that's, let's have a contest. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much.
Great job, Bob. That was really informative.
Bob,
Great job.
I have a quick question. Bob,